All right, in this video, I want to teach you a very simple technique, and this is if you're wanting to envision more, have more things happen quickly, and if you find yourself setting a goal and then forgetting it and not actually achieving it, then this is one of the processes that you'll want to do. I started doing this process back several years ago, and it's been taught from tons of different mentors and in books and everything. But the problem with a lot of these techniques and processes is they're very simple to do, and many times we don't believe that it'll work, so we don't spend the time to do it. So let me just share a quick story. Back 6-7 years ago, a lot of these, like I started right when I started, I was in a place, it was coming around December. And again, this was the year that I barely made any money. I made less than $13,000. And I made a transition though. I felt very led, very inspired by my higher power to leave out of the clinic, to let go of becoming a Thai yoga therapist and to stop pursuing my Doctor of Natural Medicine and to become a coach. That was a really scary shift, but I knew it. I knew that's what I was meant to do. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to make money at it, but I knew it was what I was supposed to and led to do. As I made that transition, I had a hard time at first holding on to my vision. Even though I felt very led and inspired, I found myself doubting myself. I found myself wondering, did I really make a wise choice, leaving my investment of my degree behind, leaving the clinic, not having a stable income, just recently getting married? Like, all these doubts started to overcome my vision. And here's one of the problems that happens. As you gain a vision, so whatever it is, well, that's totally dead. Whatever it is that you are working toward, so you have your ideal vision, right? The thing that you want. As you're moving toward that, you will have resistance because who you are today is not capable of attaining the vision of tomorrow. Otherwise, you would already have it happen. So when we change, we get to where we're ready and we become the person who is ready to attain that vision. For me, as I was starting down here, I would catch the vision. I was like, yes, I'm going to go get this vision of making $100,000 in a year and getting my wife a grand piano and being able to go coach and teach and do all these things that just felt so far away, so impossible, that every day I would try to take a step forward, I'd have opposition. Just this wall would just pop right up. And I had a choice though. I could focus on the wall, and you can only focus on one thing at a time. The moment I focused on the opposition, the doubts, the fears, the uncertainties, I lost sight of the vision. I forgot about it. So I had to use a process, a technique back then to remind myself consistently about this vision regardless of what comes up. Now, if you have not learned the abundance alignment technique, you can actually learn how to take what comes up and align it so that it becomes a stair step instead of a wall. And again, if you haven't studied that or haven't gotten into the abundance alignment technique, there's a link down below. You can click on the drop down arrow, and if it's in YouTube, and it'll bring out the description. And in there is a link to me comparing a lot of the different techniques and why the abundance alignment technique is so powerful. So you can check that out. But in the meantime, I want you to do this process that I'm about to show you because it'll help you maintain the vision. And even with the alignment technique, what you can do is take your vision and align to it so that all these things start to go away and you can move forward with focus instead of getting sidetracked and going all over the place and losing your momentum. Okay, so here's what you do. To do this, you're going to create a 1-year vision. Now you can do this with a 3-month goal, you can do it with a 6-month, a 9-month, or a 12-month. I like to have 1-year visions. And so what I did back then is I wrote out, and here's a really simple way to do it, is to say, I am so thankful and grateful now that ... Okay? This is how I start my year vision of what I am creating. And you want to imagine as if you are a year out. So it's already occurred. If you're doing it on a 3-month goal or a 6-month goal, imagine 3 months have gone out. So you're going to date it as if, so like today, let's say this is February 2021. So if I was going to do a year out, I would do February and it'd be 2022. And I would imagine as if things went exactly how I wanted, if not better. And I'd say, okay, cool. What would have to happen for me to feel really fulfilled? Just totally come alive. And you want to do this in different areas of your life because it's all about balance. So you want to look into your finances. You want to look at your health. And if I spell something multiple ways, it's called creative. So finances, health, you want to do relationships, you want to do spiritual, you can do travel, you can do all sorts of areas in your life that you want to improve. And back then, I wrote this out. And I wrote it out when I didn't have anything going for me. So I thought, hey, somebody taught me this and what have I got to lose? Nothing. So I wrote my story. And then I spent a lot of time really thinking like, what do I really want? Not what could I achieve, not what do I feel like I could achieve where I'm at right now, but if I could truly get to where I want, what would I want? And this is where you got to give yourself permission to dream. If you've set a goal and failed in the past, this technique might not seem very exciting because it represents failure to you. So you have to reframe that to say, I'm going to just start fresh. This is just playing, practicing. You're just pretending. And as you do this, it's going to inundate yourself with a new frequency, a new vibration, a new focus, so that when you move forward, you can continue focusing on what it is that you're working toward and not lose sight. Most people lose sight of where they're going. So it takes them years to get there because of all the distractions, things happen in their life, and it throws them off. They focus on what's stopping them instead of where they're going. You can only focus on one thing at a time. So choose to focus on that which you want to grow. If you focus on the problems all the time, guess what you're going to get more of? More problems. But as you continue to maintain the focus, then you will solidify that and continue step by step. All right, so you map it out, and back then, I wrote out all this story. I'm so thankful and grateful now that I've made 6 figures in my career, and I got Emily her grand piano, and she's playing it, and it's so beautiful. And so the more detailed, the better. You want to really express, the key here is you want to express the emotions around what you've achieved. So with her, I was like writing it out, and I was like, man, I'm so thankful and grateful now that I've made over $100,000, and I feel so blessed. I feel like God has really just wanted me to succeed. I've gotten out of my addictive cycles. I am now feeling confident inside. I know I have a mission. I know what I'm doing. And I bought Emily, and it was so exciting to see it on her face, her grand piano, and then she sat down and played, and it just brought tears to my eyes. And I just really got in the vision of creating the emotional story of what I wanted to have happen. So I wrote that out, and I remember reading it, and I read it every day. And some days I didn't, but most of the days I tried to read it. I also recorded myself and listened to myself in the morning, telling it in a powerful way. So I recorded the emotion so that even when I didn't feel like I wanted to say it, I just hit play on my phone and listened to myself saying it. And then I would try to read it at least 1 or 2 times a day. Sometimes I would miss a day or two, but I wanted to continue the vision regardless of all the stuff that popped up in my way. 1 year later, I looked back on that story, and from making $12,500 in 1 year, 1 year to the date, I brought in $135,000 in over the course of 1 year. And I bought my wife her grand piano. I thought it was actually going to take me 5 years because those things are not cheap. And when I bought it, I remember going through and it was so real to me because I had already lived my story daily for almost a year, that when it happened, it didn't have to feel like I was imagining it anymore. And that's the key. When you're wanting to fully align to something, it has to become part of who you are. Now, this is a powerful process. It does take time. If you just do this, you're combating all of your fight-flight responses that your body is interpreting against your vision. So if you want to speed things up, first write out your story, read it, record it, listen to it, do some repetition. Repetition helps. You can never go wrong with repetition. But if you want to speed that up to where you have to do less repetition, learn how to take your ideal story and align all parts of you. So that way, nothing keeps you from your vision. So that as you're making those steps, when things happen, which they will, they always do, the moment you set up a vision of where you're going, opposition in the exact amount of energy will counter it. So you have to keep moving forward, otherwise you're going to get stuck and stopped. So as I know where I'm going and I focus on that, when an obstacle comes, I now know this is all part of the growing process, who I'm becoming. So then as I align that, it now becomes the next step. And then the next problem comes up, the next obstacle, the next block, and I align that and it becomes the next step. So instead of having to remove all the root causes or the blocks or the traumas, what you can do using the alignment process is align to your obstacles that come up. As you maintain that vision of where you're going, if you align to this, when you align these, they become pathways to get to where you're going instead of obstacles. So if you want to learn more about the alignment technique, again, it's in the description. You can click the link below. And if you want to really take it to the next level, you can join the 10-day challenge. And it's called the Find Your Unstoppable 10-Day Challenge, which teaches you day by day over 10 days how to take what you want, really gain the vision of where you're going, figure out what is the cycle that's keeping you stuck, and switch that. So that using the power alignment, which is a condensed version of the alignment, so that you can take what stops you and shift it, change it quickly, and then keep going. We've had people finish their book that have been stuck for over a year. We've had people change things that they've worked on for over 20 years. We've seen some incredible results just going through the 10-day challenge. And many of you, if you go through the challenge, will want to learn the full version. That's where we see the most incredible results. Because you could align your organs, your glands, but it's one thing to align that, it's another to align all like 400 parts of you so that everything is going toward your goal and nothing is fighting against it. Cool? So, write out your story. I'm so thankful and grateful now that, as if it's already happened, really evoke the emotion in there. I challenge you to read it out loud to yourself, to really experience it, do it daily, record it, listen to it. I know I'm giving you a lot of suggestions here, but just pick one and stick with it. Or join the 10-day challenge, or both. Join the 10-day challenge so that you can move forward and align, and then, yes, still write out your story because you gotta know where you're going. Cool? All right, if you need any help, you can click the link. There's a drop-down arrow, description in there. You can find that link in there. And I just want to thank you for joining me today. Write out your story. Make it happen. You can do it. It just takes focus. What do you want? Where are you going? I can't wait to see you get there.